When performing at the highest level, athletes need to be in the right mental space. That often means that they develop rituals and routines to keep them at the top of their game. But you won't believe the things that fighters do before a fight. How did nipple twisting become a tradition? And which fighter drinks their own urine? Stay tuned, because all that and more are coming right up. First up, Jon Jones. Johnny Bones Jones, a name synonymous with talent. He's considered by most MMA fans as the greatest fighter to ever grace the octagon. But do you know what he used to do as part of his pre-fight ritual? Well, just like everything Jones does inside the octagon, his preparation was a little unorthodox, and that's putting it mildly. Most fighters are training, cutting weight, and making sure that they're mentally prepared in the days before a fight. But for Jon Jones, apparently, he used to go out partying a week before every fight. The former light heavyweight champion used it as a kind of coping mechanism. On an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Jones said, "I would go out and I would get blacked out wasted." It might sound crazy, but there was some method to his madness. He said that it was so that if he lost, he could point to going out the week before as the reason. Jones has opened up about his drug and alcohol use in the past and said that it took him a long time to come to his senses and be mature about his lifestyle. That lifestyle came back to bite him in 2015 when he was involved in a hit-and-run incident following some heavy drinking. For that, he was stripped of his UFC title and suspended from the organization. He was eventually charged and sentenced to 18-month probation. His partying may have eventually caught up to him, but it never got in the way of his results. Jones has only lost one fight in his professional career, and it's widely considered an illegitimate loss after he was disqualified. We can't all balance work and play like that. Now we have Chuck Liddell. During his time at the UFC, Chuck Liddell was one of the most feared fighters in the entire organization. Liddell joined the UFC in 2004. After just 2 knockout wins, earned himself a shot at the light heavyweight title holder, Randy Couture. Again, Liddell won with a knockout victory and went on to defend the title 4 more times. He took out Jeremy Horn, Randy Couture again, Renato Sobral, and Tito Ortiz. Liddell was known for his iron chin and his absolutely devastating knockout power. That's why not many people would expect what he did before each fight. The American had a long highlight reel and notched up 13 knockouts throughout his career. The fighter, who went by the nickname The Iceman, used to paint his toenails before each fight. Apparently, this is a tradition that's passed through training gyms, and soon it became a little-known signature of Liddell's. While he was knocking out light heavyweights left, right, and center, he had neatly painted nails on his feet. Apparently, a fellow fighter once called Liddell gay for the practice, and if you've ever seen any of Liddell's fights, you know that it must have been either brave or stupid to insult him like that. Chuck retired 3 years after losing the light heavyweight belt, before returning for a one-off bout against his old rival, Tito Ortiz. Coming up, what is Georges St-Pierre's bizarre ritual that gets him in the mood for fighting, and which UFC legend swears that drinking his own urine is essential? So don't go anywhere. Up next is Clay Guida. Clay Guida is a UFC lightweight who has been fighting with the organization for more than 15 years. Although he's never won the title, he has beaten fighters like Nate Diaz and Rafael Dos Anjos to prove himself as one of the best, but he might be more well known for his pre-fight ritual than anything else. Before each fight, his brother slaps him hard on either side of the face. He's said that it helps pump him up and get him into the right frame of mind for the fight. In fact, he said, "I've never been hit so hard in a fight. I know I ain't gonna get hit as hard as my brother hits me, and that gets me so amped up and excited." Guida hasn't had much success recently, with just 2 wins in his last 6 fights, but at 40 years old, he might be thinking of calling it quits soon. Maybe his brother isn't slapping him hard enough anymore. And now, Georges St-Pierre, one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. Georges St-Pierre combined work ethic with fight IQ to become a 2-division champion. But just like all the other fighters on the list, GSP had a ritual that helped him calm his nerves. After entering the octagon, there's still a little wait until the fight gets going. During that time, they need to stay alert and focused. Some jump around to keep their energy up, some stretch to keep themselves loose. But GSP, he had a different routine. He would lick his fingers and twist his nipples. Yeah, you heard that right. In front of an audience of millions, this UFC champion would pinch his own nipple. And what's even weirder is that it wasn't just GSP. Rashad Evans was caught on camera performing the same move. Funnily enough, they both train out of the famous Jackson's MMA gym in Albuquerque, New Mexico. When he was first asked about it, St-Pierre said that it was just a nervous ritual, but years later, he explained the bizarre habit a little bit deeper. He said it makes you disconnect for a split second because you're so stressed. It slices the situation and makes you reset a little bit. In the build-up to UFC 114, Rampage Jackson said that it was gay how Rashad Evans touched his nipples before before each fight. It might be weird, but considering that both GSP and Rashad Evans became UFC champions, maybe there is some logic to it. Oh, and Rampage lost that fight via unanimous decision. Next is Lyoto Machida. If you thought that nipple twisting was bad, just wait for this one. The man to knock out Rashad Evans at UFC 98 and take his belt was the Brazilian light heavyweight Lyoto Machida. But his pre-fight ritual will have you in total disbelief. Diet is very important to a fighter's success. What you eat and drink determines how much weight you gain, the energy you have, and even how you feel. But it turns out that Machida preferred to take in a liquid that normally comes out the other way. Before each fight, Machida would drink some of his own urine to help give him enough energy to earn the win. MMA journalist Ariel Helwani didn't believe this story, and so he asked Lyoto's father, Yoshizo Machida. Yoshizo himself is a martial artist, and he tried to instill a strong work ethic. And when Helwani asked Yoshizo about his son drinking his own urine, he seemed more than happy to give a demonstration. He exited the room briefly before reappearing with a plastic cup of urine to drink it in one. Helwani was impressed, and the Machida family had shown how serious they were about top-level performance. If you need to drink your own pee to perform, maybe it's worth reflecting on. And now we have Conor McGregor. This next one is a little more sentimental. The notorious Irishman shot to stardom around 2013 when he started to compete in 2014. Since then, he's got so big that he has fought Floyd Mayweather in the money fight, one of the biggest crossover fights of all time. But for those who only see the tough side of McGregor, he does actually have a softer side too. In the documentary Notorious, which follows McGregor's rise to success, one of his only superstitions is revealed. Since the start of his MMA career, he's carried his grandfather's hat with him to every fight. He keeps it in his bag to remind him of where he comes from. He said, "My grandfather died and left a few things, and one of the things he used to always wear was these hats. Sometimes I forget it's even in there, but it's been in every single bag for the past 10 years. It seemed to give him good luck throughout his career, but it was stolen a few years ago when his car was broken into and his bag was taken. Maybe that's why he hasn't won a fight in 2 years." Which thing did you find the strangest that fighters do before fights? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.